I love hearing about that.
Yeah, so culture outlasts the roster. Really, just to me again. Here, let's take culture for example. I worked at a company with 500 employees and all this and all that and all this overcomplication of culture. When I ran a locker room, when I was in a locker room, culture's pretty simple. We make a decision on how we're going to treat each other and everybody else. That's it. That's as complicated as culture is. If you're my teammate, right, you and I are going to have an arrangement. We're going to have a common respect.
Mm-hmm.
If you violate that, that's going to be dealt with. And then we put the jersey on and go out of the tunnel at 7:05. We also come up with how we're going to approach the umpires, the fans, our opponents, our coaching staff, all that stuff. That's as complicated as culture is. And I sat in so many, rooms where we're talking about all this other shit that doesn't really matter and looking at spreadsheets and how do we get training around culture. And I'm like, guys, this isn't that complicated.
Right.
So, and as far as being able to kind of transfer coaching into financial services, when you think about, I mean, you're a great coach. You're one of the guys I've always referenced when I mentor young coaches. But really, what does a coach do? Coach does three things. Number one, you got to see things before they happen, good or bad. Number two, you got to know your numbers. You got to know your data. When you and I were coaching together, it might be a pitching chart. It might be, stuff that we ran. We didn't have all the analytics back in 2004, 5, 6, 7.
Right.
When you and I were coaching. So you got to see things before they happen, good or bad. You got to know your numbers. And then the holy grail is you communicate the sum of those two parts in a way that motivate people emotionally, because winning is a game of emotion.